1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. To the side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Simon. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center. Inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center. Inhale, exhale. Again, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To right, 2, 3. To your left, 2, 3. Center. Inhale, exhale. Okay, hands on your waist, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Cross. Knees. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Hands on your waist. Neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Rotating down. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, stretch it out, right side first. Switch. 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 Switch, straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Center. Shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands at waist. Shoulder roll. And reverse. And set. Okay, press, release, exhale, inhale. And stop. Okay, hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Reverse. And center, palms down, biggest circle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, side to side, shift your weight. Okay, shift in center, lift up. And center. Okay, insert the needle. Switch. And center. Okay, shake it out. Okay, just work the legs, swing the leg, right side in. Switch. Okay, side to side. And center. Okay, other side. And center. Okay, shake it out. Hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands here, silk reeling, forward and back. Okay, center switch. And center. Okay, close, open and close, cross the arms, right foot forward. Switch. Okay, center. Feet parallel. Preparation. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Lower. Palms down. Extend. Okay, hands up, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, diagonal flying. Switch. center, cloud hands. Okay, center, palms down, lower hoop, carry tiger to the mountain. Okay, infinity sign. Okay, form the fist and punch. And center. Okay, palms together. Find your center line. Strum the lute. Okay, center, turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan through the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down. Hands up, pulling, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, so Chris, how far did you get in the form? Did you finished the form? Okay, so maybe you can stay, Isaac stay, and then Robert stay, because you finished the form. We'll go through the Tai Chi Paradigm form a few times. Then we'll go through some of the differences between the long form and the short form as sections. Get familiar with that. And then Monte, we can maybe work with Chris. I mean, with Ed. His son's name is Chris. Okay, so we'll go through the short form and we'll kind of move this way a little bit, and then Eddie, you want to go on the other side with and we'll see where we go here. If you want, you can jump toward the middle, and Chris, you want to move up in the back here, and Robert, yeah. So we'll go through that a couple of times, right? Ready? And then step up this way a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Okay, ready? Feet parallel. Preparation. Step up, grasp the sparrow's tail. Turn the corner. Go forward, back, and forward. Single whip. hold the ball, shift, diagonal flying, shift, step up, press forward, raise the hand, bend from the waist, stork flaps wings. Turn, toe heel pivot, brush knee 4 times. Sit back, second brush knee, third brush knee going to the left, going forward, turn, strum the lute, close the door, form the fists, punch, sit back, infinity sign, punch, cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Neutral position, fist under elbow. Neutral position, go forward, repulse the monkey. Go forward, sit back, repulse the monkey, go forward, reverse, repulse the monkey. Neutral position, right side, hold the ball, step up, diagonal flying. Sit back, insert the needle, step forward, fan through the back. Turn, stroke down, parry and punch. Step up, form the fist, divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross the arms, left hand to the outside, raise the left hand, bend from the waist, stork flaps wings, toe heel pivot, left side grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrists, open the stance, single whip, hold the ball, reverse the ball, diagonal flying. Sit back, stroke down, pot the horse's mane. Toe out, step up, stroke down, pot the horse's mane. Right foot crosses over, left side Jade Lady work shuttle, cross over, right side Jade Lady work shuttle. Hook your wrists, single whip. Okay, turn to the right, start to move the arms, pivot, cloud hands. Hook your wrists to single whip, hold and reverse the ball, flip it over, diagonal flying. Close it up. Deep breathing, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, so before we go do the form the second time, we'll just we'll go through the cloud hands footwork. Oh, what happened? Did you bang your eye? Oh. 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 Yeah. Oh. Well, you okay? Yeah. Yeah. So you're here, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah. So the cloud hands in the Tai Chi Paradigm form, short form, slightly different from the cloud hands in the long form. It's just that little jog that we do there, and that's really mainly shifting weight. So when we're in the single whip position, we just go down like this. To turn to the right, the hand comes down, and when this hand drops down, you pivot on the heel of the right foot, then you step up to here where your feet are parallel with about maybe 3 inches apart facing that corner. Then we're going to switch, so there's a center line there, then we turn a little bit to the left, drop the hands as they pass each other in this corner. We start to open 90 degrees to the opposite corner, and then we shift the weight. Then we step out, then we open, then we shift, and we pivot. Shift, touch down with the toe, change the hands, and you plant your heel down and pivot off the heel of that foot. Turn to the corner, hook your wrists, bring your hands back to the starting position like after grasp the sparrow's tail, and we open. Okay, now we should be relaxed, shoulders cupped forward slightly. Don't have your shoulders open like that. You're here, and then you hold the ball and reverse, and you would close. But because we're concentrating on the footwork and cloud hands, closing is, another, series of movements. But in single whip, we want to drop this hand, turn to the right side, so you're turning your torso. You bring your hand up to this point where the hands kind of merge and separate. Now the right foot is going to pivot after you shift. Then you shift again, get your weight over that left foot, and then the rear foot, which is your right foot, can move up, go alongside the other foot. The toe touches, the heels goes down when the hands pass each other. Then we're going to pivot to the right corner. Then we're going to switch the hands about here, and you pivot around, you shift, and you can do this more than 2 sets when you're practicing it. You can just continue across, building the coordination and the timing for the shift, the hands, and the pivot. So what you gain control of is how and when you shift your weight, because shifting your weight and controlling your center of mass is actually what you're trying to achieve. The benefit of controlling that is agility of footwork and mobility. So the weight is actually shifted 1 foot at a time. You fill that side, you empty the opposite side, you toe heel, you touch down, you pivot on this heel, but this heel actually doesn't have a whole lot of weight until you transfer it. Okay, so there's touching down with the toe, and then the heel goes down, then the heel stays there, and you pivot open there, and then you turn. When you get to this point, all the hands do is flip and switch. It's up and down, and you pivot, and then you pass through this point. So this is the point you're at, grasp the sparrow's tail, right? Then when you go to this side, it's essentially the opposite side of you going to single whip. Okay, so when you're first learning it, you're not that familiar with all the little positions that you might be in before you start. But typically, grasp the sparrow's tail, you're in the single whip and the hook wrist, and you start from here, right? If you're on this side, you would step out and you would open and start from here. So with cloud hands, you're really essentially passing through those positions, but not hooking the wrists, right? So you have a starting position from here where you separate. You have a starting position here where you separate. And when you separate the hands, that's when you initiate the turn, right? That's what, so your right-left rotation is really created by pivoting your feet. So when you first learn the form, all of this stuff really isn't as important, and you're only focused on memorizing the postures and the order of movement. But as you progress and you finish the form and have it sort of memorized, then you have to try to work toward refining the motion and understand the concept. So when we're shifting weight, we're pivoting, and we shift and we center and we control. One foot is heavy and one foot is light. So the light foot is the one you move. The heavy one, or the substantial one, is the one that carries your load. So when you shift, you're really always in a position of sustaining weight on that foot. So that's really the 0-100% ratio. You know, in order to walk or step or move, you actually have to shift your weight 100%. Otherwise, you're really kind of dropping your weight into that foot. That's really what ends up, you know, a fault, or really something that's not really the correct way of moving. You know, most people kind of catch themselves every time they take a step. So if you misstep, chance of stumbling or falling is going to be, you know, more likely. But the thing is, if you're taking your step and you're lightly touching, then you're actually relating to where ground is, and then when you take your step, that's how we actually step in Tai Chi. It's a training. It eventually becomes something that's in your subconscious, and you'll pay attention to that more. So it's important. The pattern is the same as when we do the hands as a drill. Once we move the feet, then it becomes like this. And you develop a sequential order to what actually happens between the soles of your feet and the top of your head, and in between is your arm work and leg work. But because there's so many things going on, it's pretty complicated and complex for the body to pick up on it. So it does take time. You have to get your legs going, you have to get your hands going. You can practice them separately, working the hands and the legs. So in other words, if you're here, you can just hold your hands and just practice your feet to get the idea that one part moves as you transition across. We don't do that in this, but we actually just pivot, shift, step out, and sustain more weight on this leg until you plant that foot. When you plant the foot, that's usually pretty difficult for a new person doing it. Because why? Because the legs don't relax. The legs don't relax because we only use our legs as a support system. It carries your weight. But when you want to move and be agile on your feet, you have to carry your load and be able to manipulate your skeleton to be able to do what it has to do. Whether it's footwork, stepping, running, jumping, it has to be something that you can control. So the control factor is something you develop, you know, over time. So that's cloud hands. Yeah.
How do you avoid double weight in this posture?
Okay. So double weight is a fault. So double weighted is when your weight typically appears to be 50-50. The reason why I say it appears to be 50-50 is because we just pass through that. So that when you're in a position like this, is 50-50, looks like the hands are pretty even. They are. So structurally it looks balanced. There's a center, you know, like this. But because we can shift our body slightly to the right or left, which actually affects how your knees kind of do this. If your knees didn't do this and this, you wouldn't be able to stay in this vertical position because you would either want to fall backwards or fall forward, right? So what happens when you fall backwards? The weight goes to the heels of your feet, and if you pull if everybody got into this position so you can experience this, if everybody, sink your elbows, so both elbows are a little bit, about the same height. If one is longer than the other, and this is like this, and you turn to leaning, that's actually the Yang style single whip. They're different. Now what's bringing the shoulder forward? Empty the chest. That means you have the sternum here, you actually can bring your shoulders forward by rounding the back, because the body does that, and it's like a piece of wood. When you empty the front of it, it becomes concave, or it's either concave or convex, right? So when you empty the chest, your shoulders come forward, and you feel that your center is more stable because your center of mass goes to your dantian, or your lower abdomen. Now, if I pull my shoulders back, I feel the weight going behind me. You feel that? And if you continue to go back, you're going to feel yourself want to fall back. You got to pull behind you, I say. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't want you to break the pole. No, I'm kidding. So if you bring your shoulders forward, you're here. But if you bring them too far forward, what happens? You feel like you're falling forward. Okay. So what do you have to do to compensate for the forward and backward movement? This is what his question is. How do you avoid double weightedness? Okay. So if you're in this position and you got your shoulders forward and you feel centered here, so you don't go forward or back, let's just kind of put the pressure on either one of your heels, and then put your toe down on one side, and then you switch to the other side. So you feel that toe-heel relationship. The toe goes down, the heel and toe. Now if you're on the toe and the heel of the opposite foot, you can't go forward or back. Okay, so that's a sensitivity, and it's also, the less apparent your shift is, the more skillful it is. So when you do this, you know it's toe heel, and you do this is toe heel. So you're not double weighted, right? Because the weight is shift. So the minute shift, where it's very subtle and minute, then you become stable. So that's avoiding double weightedness. So that's really most apparent in the single whip position, because your feet look like they're equal, right? But because we pass through here and we're moving like this, we're actually never in that single whip position very long. So it's just an instant that you pass through might be where 50-50 is. So 50-50 position, you could be there until there's an external force. You don't have to actually respond to that totally. So if I'm standing here, if I go to toe heel position, I'm already shifting from double weighted to, so if you open the form, you can see that when I do this and I do this, it's really toe heel, and then you step up and then you move. So I'm toe heel and then you go forward. So that's a constant that really most people don't pay attention to, because they don't understand that concept of the principle. But the thing is, when we wear shoes that are very stiff on the bottom and thick and rigid, your feet are not as agile. So as well protected your feet are from the elements, it's not doing much justice to your sensory system, as far as the responses from the soles of your feet to the top of your head.
Well, in this one here, right now I'm double weighted.
Yeah.
So I should shift from one foot to the other?
You're shifting from what for the other. Okay, so let's go like this, right? Open. So when your hands are moving and your body is somewhat swaying, okay? When I go like this, there's a compensation for when this goes forward, I want to go backwards, right? So when I go backwards and go forward, I can continue to control that position because my body is somewhat swaying, balancing between forward and extreme backward. So because I'm moving forward and then back, I also have my knees. So when I go like this and I sink, I created that balance. But then if I go lift like this and I swing, control the relationship in the ball of the foot and the heel of the foot, then that gives you a different experience, because now when I go forward and do this, this is on the ball and it goes to the heel, and then I have this relationship between the two sides, and then you step up. So something else that you can do to help you build that relationship is standing like this, and you do the toe heel exercise that we do, where you're going like this and you're going like this, where the knees alternate and you go from heel to toe and heel to toe. It takes, first it's a physical movement, then it becomes an intrinsic innate motion that becomes part of your method of moving, because that's what we do as creatures of habit, of learning by repetition. Once you do something over and over and you're aware of it, now it's not going to happen if you're not aware of it, because what your brain does, it tells your body what to do. But if the brain doesn't know it, how can the body know it? Unless it's just working off of what it thinks it should do, then that happens too. But you don't understand that that's happening. You just, you can stand without collapsing, but that's part of your sort of the autonomic system that you just won't tip over, because your body has a certain amount of tonus where your muscles don't go flaccid unless you actually go unconscious. If you pass out, you'll collapse. Why? Because there's no signaling telling the muscles that you need to have a certain amount of tension to stay in a certain position. But at the same time, when you bend over and you don't know you're leaning forward, you're not going to tip over, because your body won't allow you. You don't want to crash. So what ends up happening is your back compensates, and it starts to tense, and it holds you in that position, and you'll walk around like this thinking that's normal when your body should be like this. So these are things that people really don't pay attention to. But as you become more aware of your body and position and postures, then you realize that there's something else going on. So that's why we have these postures, and there's functionality to it, but there's also skeletal positioning, which goes into a whole nother level of understanding. So
Those are the only two symmetrical moves. This one here were both sides.
Yeah. So every time you're in a horse stance, it appears to be that. So fan through the back, you would, insert needle, then you step forward, you shift your weight, then you shift and you open. You're here, the weight's here, and then you pull back and turn. So when I'm here, I'm actually between my balls of my feet and the heel. We have a reason to have a ball of a foot. This ball of the foot is like this part of your hand, right? The heel of your palm is like the heel of your foot, right? Your fingers manipulate to do certain things. Your toes manipulate to do certain things. And sometimes you grab the floor, sometimes you release. So all of these things, each digit has something that has to send some kind of message here. Otherwise you would just have one flat piece here, one piece of wood, or one foot that's like that, and you can't actually be very agile. So because of that, there's sections of your feet that become like 5 parts. You have the ball of your foot with the toes, you have the edges of your feet, then you have the heel, and then you have the arch center, right? That's kind of the basic makeup. But that keeps you supported, and it has that arch to give you that spring in the feet. There's more bones in your feet than the rest of your body, I think, right? So anyways, so in single whip position we have it. Anytime we pass through this, close the door, you say, well, are we in a double weighted position? It's still that whole relationship. So it's throughout. It's the footwork is consistently to the soles of your feet. But that's part of skill level. If you are aware of that, and then when you practice, all of those things are happening whether you realize it or not. But when you get to a certain stage, you want to try to understand what happens, and that's part of the learning. It could take you 20 years to wonder why double weighted works as a fault, or doesn't work. It's so One more time the cloud hands. Okay, yeah, we'll run through that together. So we're in the single whip position. Left hand goes down, and what we have to do is turn the shoulders. So that means you would turn the back. Now, once the hand gets to here, the hands separate. Now, you might think, well, I'm double weighted here, but you actually, when you turn here, you're on the ball of this foot, the heel of this foot, and then we shift. Because the heel of this foot, we pivot on it. Now we shift again. We touch with the toe, so suspend yourself there. Keep that toe light. You can tell if it's light if you can tap it. Okay. Okay, you got it? Okay, let's shift the hands. Shift the hands. Now once that goes down, you relax your foot and it goes down. Now the heel touches. That's your trigger point. It hits and then you touch and you spin. Then you change your hands as you step out. Then when you step out, your heel gradually goes down because it's a relationship, and then you shift over, and then here's the pivot. And there's the shift. So you have a pivot and a shift, a toe down position, a change of hands, and then you pivot again. And then we continue. Let's try that one more time. Toe to heel, hands up and down. Shift. Now this is a little bit more complicated without blending it together. You see the hands go down and the feet relaxes. Then once you get to this corner, you go back to that starting position like single whip, and you go. So in single whip, you already should have learned this, but you go there, there's your heel down. So look at what my feet are. My feet are parallel because my hip is here. And then we sink. So when we sink, don't bring weight to the back foot, bring it to the front foot. And then you open the stance, then you start to transition across, and then you open, and then if you were to reset, you would be here. You see? So that's really what the manipulation of skeletal structure is. You're controlling all of those, minute adjustments. They're called internal adjustments. And then as you, realize where your body's going, then it becomes heightened. You're building a program up here, and that program is much more complex than just doing something without that, right? So you can't build that program from scratch. You have to build some, go through the process, rebuild it, go through the process, rebuild it, and you keep adding onto it. That's how your consciousness works as you start to understand things. Without that kind of process, it becomes just too much for you to process. You can't do it. So then we go to the long form, right? Let's do this. We're in a single whip position, all right? If we shift like this, this is your toe heel pivot, right? So in a shoulder width position, it's a toe heel pivot. If we're in this position, you can just do a toe heel pivot. Now you're facing the left, you go to neutral position, right? If you go to brush knee right side, there's your brush knee. If you sit back and you go forward and round out, and you sit back and turn your waist to the left, and then pivot on the heel of the left foot, and then spin around to the opposite side, you turn to the left, flip the hands, and you did a brush knee on the left side. And we sit back again, we go to the right side, we turn to the right, we pivot, shift, adjust your feet if you have to, and brush knee right. And then you go back, and then you do the opposite side. You do the same. So what you have to build is the process, the mechanism where you go from one side to the other, and then back to neutral, and horizontal elbow, sit back and turn your waist the opposite direction, get to this side, and So what this is it's a drill to do the 180-degree turn, do your brush knee, right side, left side, as a cycle. And that happens in the obliques. In the long form, the short form doesn't have the obliques. So you're doing brush knee in the typical form forward, right? When you repulse the monkey, it's going backwards. Now, 180-degree turns in the obliques are what happens in the obliques. So what we just did there will show up here. In stork flap swings, we turn to the corner, just the torso. We don't have to actually spin the foot at this point. In a 45-degree turn, you only have to turn the torso. And then you shift your weight, and then we're here. That gives you the true 45 corner. You brush knee, and you push. Now when you sit back and you go forward, and you turn to your left and sit back, and then pivot the foot till your toe points to that wall, you pivot around. You might have to drag the foot around a little. Now you're on the left side, and you do a left side brush knee, and you do a right side grasp the sparrow's tail. So that's your sequence. That's the only difference. And we're back to single whip, which is just the relative 45 position that you use from grasp the sparrow's tail. So now you're in the corner. So the oblique movements in the Tai Chi form are called the corner movements. It only shows up in the long form. It shows up twice, but that's how you practice, and that's the add-on before you get to the repulse the monkey. So once we're in this position, to get to this side, we have to pivot on the toe, and then the heel, and then we shift our weight back, and then we drag this foot across. Now, just going through what we just did about toe-heel relationships, you can just understand it from here. It's the toe. So when I'm in the toe, I'm on the heel of the opposite foot. Then when I'm on the heel, I go to the toe of the opposite foot, and then I shift. I'm on the ball of this foot, and the toe goes around. Yeah. So you really can't feel pressure on the ball of your foot until your ankle relaxes enough that your shin goes forward. When the shin goes forward, then you know the ball of the foot is going to take the pressure. But most people, when the ankles are too tight, when you're in this position, it doesn't go forward, so you end up like this, and then you're on both heels. You're going to be double weighted, you're going to be off balance. So, I mean, that's a really a heightened understanding of what goes on. But you know, as a teacher, that's what I understand. As a practitioner, you will just follow, you know, kind of fumble through it to your body, you know, so that it can accommodate it. So the relaxing of the ankles, you do that here. You do that in the drills. When you do your drills, when you do preparation, you have to take it from the sole of your feet to the top of your head. Relax the joints, let your knee go forward, and let your spine go vertically down. Okay, so that's something that's important for, you know, everyone. From this point on, you should realize that, and then continue to build your awareness and sensitivity of what has to happen, and then be more consciously involved with, you know, what you hear, and then you try to put it to work. So, all right, so let's go through the long form. You can go as far as you can, and then and I'll talk you through it, then we'll go through the rest of it. Okay, so I'll stand over here. Okay, ready? Feet parallel. Preparation. Step up. Press forward. Sit back. Turn the corner. Step up. Grasp the sparrow's tail right side, just like you've already learned. We go to single whip. Hold the ball. Shift. Diagonal flying. Shift. Step up. Press forward. Raise the hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Sink down. shift, toe, heel, pivot. Set up your round out horizontal elbow, brush knee one time, brush knee the second time on the same side. Sit back, go to your left, toe out, step up, brush knee and push. Sit back, twist step, back to center, strum the loop, move to center left, center line position so your arms are like this, close the door, form the fists, step up and punch, sit back, divert and block, lean forward and punch, cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Okay, bring the hands down, relax the hands, turn. Here's your carry tiger to the mountain, to the front right corner. We square the feet just like before, but cross with the right hand to the outside. Here's your first oblique brush knee push. Sit back, go forward, sit back and turn to the left, unwind the waist, brush knee and push. Sit back, right side vertical, right side horizontal, grasp the sparrow's tail in this corner. Hook your wrist, sit back and go to the front right corner again. Here's the oblique single whip. Okay, now here's the pivot. 1, 2, you might not be all the way around, so just drag the foot around, okay, till you're squared to this wall. Okay, once you're squared, you should be facing here. Then we turn the corner. Here's setting up for fist under elbow. And here's where repulse the monkey begins. So we know repulse the monkey. Then we go to neutral position, and here's another change. We go like this, we turn to the corner, carry tiger to the mountain with the cross stance, open the stance and go back to horse stance. Hold the ball, shift, diagonal flying, repeat this series, press forward, raise the hand, bend from the waist, stork flaps wings, turn. This your toe heel, brush knee and push. Sit back, insert needle, fan to the back. So we all know this from the Tai Chi Paradigm. We turn, same as before, stroke down, parry and punch. Step back, form the fists. Step backwards. This one's reversing. Yeah, this in this form it reverses. So that's later on. It'll do the forward step. Step up to grasp the sparrow's tail, and we're at the single whip position again. And this is where the first set of cloud hands begins. Now, like I mentioned, the cloud hands are a little bit different, but we'll just run through them for now. It just has an extra jog or shift of weight to this position. And then we're back to single whip, and that's where the kicks begin. Okay, and we'll pause. So let's do repulse the monkey again, because I see there's some things in repulse the monkey that we should understand. That from fist under elbow, we're in the sitting position. The torso, fist under elbow, is just like neutral position. So fist under elbow, the fist is under the left elbow, and then we reset to neutral. Then once we take the hand and turn to horizontal left, when we turn to the left, we straighten the back foot. Then we sit into this foot, we pass through center, and then reverse. Sit back, like brush knee and push. Now we go back to neutral. We go forward toward your center, turn toward the right, and let the front foot spin. Now if you have weight on the front leg, the rear foot should spin, and then you sit into that leg, pass through center, and then go backwards. Then shift your weight back to that turn, relax the hips, and you go forward. So if you don't twist and straighten that foot and pass through your supporting leg, then what's going to happen is that when you go back and you don't straighten that foot, you're going to end up doing that. And then you're going to end up in that corner, and then, so that's why you have to straighten that foot. Because your normal tendency is to follow, if your foot's like this, it's going to want to do this or go over there. So you want to straighten it so you can find your center, pass through your center, and then go out so that it plants, so that you're in a good bow stance or archer stance, and then you shift your weight. So you will go from this side a little bit to the left side, and then turn. Now you go forward with this movement, you go back to the right, and then you have to turn your shoulders and let that rear foot pivot, and then you shift, and then you pass through again. So here again you can practice the footwork separate, but with the twist without the hands, it's harder to know you turned. So you have to kind of, pass through center each time to maintain that balance. So there's the footwork again, where you're stable on one leg, light on the other leg, then it becomes stable. So the stability, the solid leg and empty leg constantly, shifts forward and back, and you constantly exchange that relationship. So when you're in a weighted leg, this is how you will get used to doing this and passing through, because when you pass through here, the foot is straight, so you pass through. So then this has to be angled, because this is straight, this has to be angled. When you're going forward, you're going to toe out, and then this is your corner, and then this is your front, you see. So you always either go into 45 and straight and 45 to give you that relationship. So this gives you the base, and there's your corner, and there's your front. There's your corner, there's your front. So that's something that we don't pay attention to a lot on our feet, but when we start to go through the sequence and go through the postures, all of that stuff is happening, especially when you do your kicks. When we get to the kicks and we practice this, where do we turn? We turn to that corner. Where do we center? And so really what happens between all of that becomes part of your training, going from corner to corner. So with that said, we didn't go through the whole form, but there's a lot of little things that we should be working to improve on those. Learning the sequence is a goal, but quality of movement and getting your body to understand it is beyond memory. So I call this learning beyond the form. The form is actually just the book of motions and really houses all the information. But if you don't take that information then and kind of interpret it, then your body doesn't really understand it. So, okay, let me bring them in. Okay, ready? We'll bow.